Just a little bit of editing there. I don't know if you saw it, because this isn't Steve Keenan. It's actually Kevin May, who's going to be moderating this session. I think it's probably one of the most eagerly awaited sessions of the day. It's looking at some of the best blogger initiatives that are out there this year, moving on from where we were last year, looking at what some travel bloggers are doing beyond the traditional. So, they're doing things like creating their own magazines or books, that sort of thing. And each of them is going to present to you what they're doing, and Kevin is going to guide you through all of those things. Each one has a presentation. We have a couple of judges here as well to talk through those things as well. So can I introduce Kevin? Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Hi everybody. It's a packed room, which is great. Thank you for lasting until the end of the day. So we're going to whiz through this really quickly because we're obviously conscious of everybody's time and DLRs and all those kind of things. So Best Blogger Innovation of 2012. It sounds like a competition, and to a certain extent it is. So what we've got are 6 bloggers that are going to present to you in just under 7 minutes, and I will have a virtual hook to pull them off the stage if they go over their 7 minutes. What they're going to do is tell you about something that they've been doing this year in 2012 that kind of sets them apart, arguably, from what others are doing. So as Mark said, we've got a series of books, blogging, wow, who would have thought it? We've also got a TV and video project. We've got a digital magazine. We have a project that was going on in conjunction with hostels. We have a planning project as well, and we also have a photo project as well. So they're all really, really interesting. We're going to end the afternoon on a really positive note. So you heard the bloggers versus blaggers thing and all that kind of stuff. So we end on a really positive note, some really interesting stuff that's been going on this year. Now, it's not just the 6 presenters. We have almost like an X Factor critics circle here as well. So to the right there is Simon Cowell, who has grown a beard and shaved his hair off. He's Mark Hodson. He's one of our critics today. Next to him is Danny Minogue. Aren't we lucky to have Danny Minogue here this afternoon? Sorry, Jennifer. Jennifer Howes. So Mark is from 101 Holidays, and Jen is from Brit Mum's Life. So what they are going to do after each of the small pitches, like I said, just 7 minutes, they will take it in turns, and they will ask one question each of the people that are pitching, and at the end we'll ask them to summarize, and they will come up with a really technical way of getting to a winner. We don't want to say exactly a winner because they're all done really, really well, but we thought we'd do like some kind of like clapometer at the end, so you can all kind of like say which one you thought was the best one. So without further ado, we're going to go over to the very first pitch, which is, you have the honour of this, Janice. So this is Janice Waugh from Solo Traveller. Hi. And yes. And Janice is going to tell us about a book project a book series project that she's been involved in, which is actually very, very interesting. I heard about it all last week. So, Janice, your 7 minutes.
Now, oh my goodness. Okay, thanks very much, Kevin. Okay, let's. I'm going to start with a video. It's a video trailer we did, which pretty well sums everything up. Essentially what we've done is we've created the logo's gone, a new travel book brand. And until now, at least to our knowledge, travel books about how people travel have been one-offs. And so what we've done is try to create a brand that will be trusted on the how and why of travel. I was going through material at WTM and was really pleased to see these words, with travelers seeking authentic and unique experiences, and then it went on to another sentence that didn't apply. But this concept is really the premise of the Traveler's Handbooks, because what we're trying to do is create a series that will help travelers enjoy authentic and unique experiences of the world. And authenticity is key. They've been written by bloggers, publishers, travel experts, and who have actually lived the niches. So here they are. This is the authors. Now, the photo on the left was taken at TBU in Italy last year. Most of us, other than Shannon, whose photo's there, most of us were there, and we held a marketing meeting to try to develop and plan how we were going to launch the series. So the authors are, from left to right, Shannon O'Donnell of A Little Adrift, Sarah and Terry Lee of Live Share Travel. Terry, why don't you stand up? Sarah is here. She's got another project on the go, very busy. And Terry, show the 2 books. We do have them in print here. You can have a look at. And then Jody of Legal Nomads, and Jody's here as well, with more books. Jeff Young, who is in Colombia at the moment, and so couldn't be with us, Career Break Secrets, and then me, Solo Traveler. So we met in Italy, but then after that we met via Google Hangout. And we were in 5 countries on 4 continents. And via Google Hangout, we developed the plan together, developed the brand, developed the marketing strategy. We also supported each other in terms of reading and editing each other's books. And that's how the whole program came together. And each of the authors has their own platform and social media platforms. And will be using those, and are using them all currently, to promote their own book and the brand in general. So the thing about the project is that there are strengths and benefits for the brand and the authors. There's strength in numbers, and social media amplification that we can have as a group as opposed to an individual. There's a cross-selling and marketing of the books themselves. Respect by association. My network is now the networks of all the other authors, and vice versa, right? And credibility, having actually published a book, kind of gives you a bit of cred. So it works very well that way. So the first 5 books are, I don't know how I'm doing in time. I don't think I'm too bad. The Career Break, Food, Luxury, Solo, and Volunteer are the first 5 books, and there will be more. And each of the books is written in the unique voice of the author, and each of the books follows a certain model, so that there is both consistency and individuality within the book series. And what it means, though, is that that brand is also one that the consumer can trust. They know what they will be getting, though the voice will be unique in terms of the writing style. And each of the books has a combination of stories and inspiration about travel, but also advice and tips. So it's that combination again. They're designed to be really easily accessible. People can open them up anywhere and read, or they can read them front to back. The handbooks are also designed to be complementary with traditional travel guides. So traditional travel guides are all about destination, and we're about the how and why. And so people need both. They're also complementary within themselves. So someone might be going on a career break and want to do volunteer travel, and they might want both books. So they're complementary in many ways. Because we are online writers, we have chosen a digital distribution method. So the books are print on demand. There's no big warehouse sitting of printed books. They're available in print and digitally through most ebooks, and they're available through online stores. And that's pretty well it.
Okay, round of applause for Janice, please. Danny Minogue, over to you first.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Howes with Brit Mums. So Janice, first of all, my question is this book for your existing audience? Is it reaching out to other people? Who's going to be reading or buying this book?
Well, initially, certainly our own readership are a really good market for this. But I published the Solo Traveler's Handbook just as a one-off last year, and I could see how it grew in terms of the sales. So without having really accurate stats, I would say between 10 and 15% of the actual sales in my book are from the affiliate links, like my Amazon affiliate link. The rest are coming from who knows. Mm-hmm. But if you go to Amazon and you plug in solo travel, I'm usually first or second. So really the distribution mechanism is working very well in terms of the distribution, the sales.
Great.
Hi Janice. First, congratulations. It's a fantastic initiative and great to get publishing so many books so quickly. I noticed there's no price on the book. I'm interested to know what they sell for. And also bookshops. Is there any future in selling in bookshops? I know it can be quite hard to break into that.
The hard copies are $16.99 US, £12.99, and the digital are $9.99 US. I really should have reversed this. I'm sorry. $9.99 US and $7.99 in pounds. Oh, and of course the retail outlet, the online retail outlet does vary that price. They, as a retailer, they've got the choices changing the price. So it can be $6.43 as it is in one location. So it changes. What was your second question?
Is there any future in bookshops?
Well, bookshops, right? Bricks and mortar stores. Certainly if they came chasing us down and wanted to give us space on the shelf, yes. But as far as a strategy for going out to market at the beginning, given our online presence and the community that we're a part of, it makes more sense to go digitally at the beginning.
You can grow this business without bothering shops?
Yeah, without chasing them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick question. So what's your online audience right now?
What, you mean individually? Because we're as a collective, our online audience actually spreads quite far.
Okay.
Right? So depending upon, Facebook, Twitter, our actual blog readership, it's quite extensive.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, once again, Janice. Okay, next is Sarah Lee. So if you have a slide, so if you want to take to the stage there. Everybody, Sarah Lee.
Hello there. Well, I'm here kind of wearing two hats today. Firstly, I am part of a Traveller's Handbook collective, which Janice has just spoken about. I'm the co-author of the Luxury Traveller's Handbook, but I'm also a partner in another collaborative project, which is known as 4x4. So as you can imagine, I've had quite a busy year, but it's been an exciting one nonetheless. So 4x4, as the subtitle there suggests, is going to be one heck of a journey. It's a collaboration between myself and my husband Terry, who stood up earlier, at livesharetravel.com, and a TV journalist and presenter Cheryl Gibbs, and Melvin Bocher at traveldudes.org. Now, Terry and I launched Live Share Travel in 2010 and identified pretty early on, really, that as a business model, merely having an online magazine in the age of user-generated content and, being able to publish quite freely and easily was unlikely to produce a serious income. So, we were quite lucky, really, because we always had other things to fall back on. I'm a travel journalist, and we also have a marketing communications company with clients in travel and lifestyle. But we also figured that, you know, really what you needed to do in this day and age is to really be thinking innovatively and working collaboratively for future success and growth. So this is one of the reasons we're involved in the Traveller's Handbook series, but we then also have developed 4x4 as well. So upon embarking on 4x4, we just aimed to develop a quality product, produce a successful project, and build revenue streams. This is a commercial consideration, after all. It's a different way of working for Terry and I. 4x4 brings together the online and offline worlds. Our partner Cheryl only has a cursory knowledge of the online world. Her strengths lie in TV presenting, production, and in PR. It also has us operating in very different territory to what we're used to. Usually Terry and I travel to report on destinations for Live Share Travel and for other publications, but 4x4 sees us embracing an altogether different role. Having devised the project, we're producing all aspects of it, from researching ideas and sourcing interviewees to day-to-day logistics and promotion. And as you're set to find out, it's a pretty huge task. So 4x4 started out as a reasonably standard trip, but has grown and grown. The title 4x4 refers to the 4 continents in 4 months that Cheryl and the rest of our crew will travel to. They'll start in Africa, visiting Cape Town, Durban and Johannesburg in South Africa, before heading to Asia, touching down in Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia. Then the team will fly on to Australia, overlanding from Cairns to Sydney, before crossing the Pacific to the US and the Caribbean. 4x4 is also multi-platform. It's a multi-platform project. Cheryl's travels will be charted on Live Share Travel, Travel Dudes, and our respective social media channels. It will also be on the soon-to-be-launched TV station, the Venture Channel, and potentially through our ambassador campaigns. It's also multimedia. When we first designed the project, Cheryl was set to produce features, photos and broadcast quality videos on the destinations and brands we're working with, but 4x4 is now so much more. We partnered with Melvin of Travel Dudes to take it in a broader demographic and expand the number of people seeing our content on social media. We then built in a traditional PR campaign, going to national press and so on. And then there's a potential for destinations and brands to get on board with 4x4 by incorporating other marketing streams, such as our ambassador. This is the brainchild of Keith Jenkins of Velvet Escape. And it's already had some success with working with Cape Town and Jordan Tourism, revealing the very best of these destinations to online audiences. So we're really excited about what it could do with us on 4x4. But perhaps the piece de resistance of 4x4 is that we have been commissioned to produce a 6-part television series from the project. The programme about vegetarian food around the world will be aired on a brand new station, the Venture Channel, which is set to launch to 200 million viewers in 20 countries around the world in the coming weeks. Oh, now I've lost my pictures. Oh, right. Decided to play it like that. Okay. So Cheryl will now be joined by camerawoman Claire Proudfoot, whose directing and production credits include work for the Travel Channel and for Channel 5. And since agreeing the TV deal, we've also devised another show concept on some of the world's most outstanding places to stay, and currently we have global distributors selling this for us. Right, 4x4 is a giant project. It will hit nearly every media channel, combining traditional media with new platforms. It's multinational, multi-platform, multimedia, leading to maximum exposure for brands and destinations we work with. This is just a few of them. It will reach millions of viewers, readers, Facebookers, tweeters, travellers and dreamers alike to inspire their travels, bringing plenty of ROI to destinations and brands involved in the project. My background is in journalism, Terry's is in marketing, Cheryl's in broadcasting. We've never really seen ourselves as bloggers as such, but as publishers and producers. But with this project, we're bringing all our skills together in an innovative collaboration. It's often presumed that online and traditional media are quite separate entities, and if you'd believe online debates, that never the twain shall meet. But 4x4 will bring the two together, delivering quality content to a truly global audience. And we hope you'll join us as we go 4x4. It all departs on the 22nd of November and starts in Cape Town.
Okay. Round of applause for Sarah. Stay there just a second. Our critics, stroke judges. Any questions?
Yes. So how exactly are brands involved with the project, and are they involved editorially at all, or is it that they're simply providing the locations? How does that work?
Largely at the moment it's assistance based, but there's no editorial control whatsoever. We maintain that. But we are also looking at sponsors, and there's a few people that we're in discussions with currently as well.
And the sponsors, what would they be buying? Would they be buying like commercials on the TV show, or would they be buying something else?
It would be standout adverts on our sites, and just sort of mentions in terms of reviews and things like that. If that's what some of their, we use some of their products.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Sounds really impressive. Just trying to get my head around it, actually. It sounds like the mostly the content is video. That seems to be the what you're offering that other people aren't. Is that right?
That's the thing that I think really makes it stand out. Yes, it's the video and then the television as well. And that's the thing, because I think a lot of people really understand that. When you're talking to people here at WTM, they understand traditional media, but we're also bringing in the online side of things, and we're packaging it all up. So, it gets a good spread across everything, really.
Okay. So I'm kind of interested in the sort of, if someone wanted to do this, how much would it cost them to set themselves up making travel content, going around the world doing it? Because presumably one of the reasons why a TV company is buying your content is because it's relatively cheap, right?
We're not cheap. What are you trying to say, Mark?
He means inexpensive.
Well, as first-time producers, I would say that you're not going to go in with the big bucks, But of course, it being television, there is money to be made, and there's good money to be made, But it is being produced on a relatively small budget for what it is. But it just means that we've got to do a lot more hard work.
Sure. So if someone here is inspired by what you're doing, thought I could do that, can they just go and buy a flip camera, or do they need to spend £1,000 on equipment or £5,000? What's involved?
I think if you're producing something for broadcast, you can never do that on a flip camera. You can just about use a flip camera for YouTube. But yeah, if you're producing for broadcast, you really want it to be as professional as possible. You really want professional quality equipment, and preferably a professional to shoot it for you. But if you're doing something like this and it's for online use, I think the best camera you can afford yourself. But really just an HD camera and a lot of imagination, really. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Sarah Lee and her team and her not very cheap video content. Okay, next is, no, it's Nelly next, I'm afraid. Oh, no, you're very, very keen, obviously. Nelly Huang, please. And this is a digital magazine. Okay, everybody,
Hi.
welcome Nelly first of all. Round of applause.
Thank you.
7 minutes, here you go.
Hi, thank you, Kevin. My name is Nelly, and I'm here to share my story about how we created Wow Junket magazine. Just a bit of background about myself. I started wowjunket.com in 2008, and like many other travel bloggers, I felt an urge to share my travel stories with my friends, with family, and so eventually I made a lot of friends in the travel blogging community, and the blog just grew beyond my imagination. So now it's ranked as one of the top travel blogs. Along the way, I also branched out into travel writing. And so I contributed to several magazines like CNN Go, When, Women Adventure Magazine, Food and Travel. And at the beginning of the year, I launched Wow Junket magazine along with my photographer husband here, Alberto. And it's a project that we created based on our passion for travel and new media. We wanted to also expand beyond our website and to reach our audience in a more interactive manner. So what is Wow Junket magazine all about? Instead of going through this slide, I'm just going to show you a sample of our magazine. Can you open it like full screen? Okay. Okay, thank you. So this is one of our issues is an Africa special. So as you can see, it's a digital flipbook magazine designed for iPad and tablet readers. We also feature a new age design with interactive multimedia. So for example, you could click on this and it brings you to the article itself. We also include links, and we're also intending to make it more interactive by including videos. We feature long-form travel narratives with very strong storytelling element. We have a very strict editorial process to make sure that we create quality content. That is our priority. We want to inspire readers to get out and see the world, but not just that. We also want them to go beyond the convention and seek out unique experiences. As you can see, we publish a lot of experiences ranging from a year stay in Mongolia to winter survival course in Austria, and unconventional destinations like Madagascar, Kyrgyzstan, and Gabon. What was I? Okay, and our magazine is available on many publishing platforms like Zinio, Maxter, as well as through our app. You can just go to our app store, type in Wow Junket, and you'll find us there. Okay, you can go back, yeah.
Which one are you on?
What was it? This one? Yeah.
This one?
This one. Yeah.
That one?
No, next one. Yeah. Thank you. So to rewind a little bit, I'll explain why we created a digital magazine in the first place. We wanted to expand beyond the website, as I said earlier. We also did a lot of survey, and we asked our readers what did they want from us, and we wanted to package and deliver our content in a more creative way as well, to interact with them on a different scale. Because with the magazine, we could share stories with them on a deeper level, and also photographs in a more open manner. And also we found that it was the right time. We also had the right audience, because with the blog we already established a group of followers, so we knew that we had an audience to speak to. As you can see from the quote, about 54% of the total magazine reading population now access the content in digital form, so we decided that it was the perfect time to launch our magazine. Before launching our magazine, we examined our skills. Based on the past few years of writing, I knew that we were in the correct direction, and also from the blog I acquired some marketing skills. and also already had some contacts in the advertising industry. And as for Alberto, he's a photographer, so he's got an eye for photography, he's got software knowledge, he used to be a computer engineer, and also knowledge in graphic design. But we knew that magazine production is a very big project and we can't do it ourselves. So we approached a lot of friends for help. We've got a network of writers and bloggers. Many of them are here, like Sarah actually contributed a piece for our first issue. She also helped edit as well. Many names like Abigail King, like Candace Rose Redden as well. We also made a lot of connections via Trev Media, Writers.com and social media. And right now we are working with an editorial assistant, Erin Ridley. We also have a salesperson to help us with advertising, as well as a few interns. But after we published our first issue, we realized that it was just the beginning of the journey. Having a good product is not enough. We need to know how to market it and promote it to the right audience. So we came up with a marketing plan, we did giveaways, we got bloggers to review the product, we also sent out press releases. Other part of the work involved establishing contact with advertisers, managing our subscribers, and creating more products to keep the readers interested. So what's next for us? We are launching a new website dedicated to the magazine to share more of the magazine content to reach out to more audience. We're also giving away our magazine for free to newsletter subscribers. So if you've got the time, please check out wildjunketmagazine.com when it's out. We'll also be publishing on Kindle and Barnes & Nobles, and we're also coming up with more products such as the photography ebook series. Here's our information. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Critics, please.
Yes, I did want to say all these projects are so interesting. So they're really fantastic, and it's a beautiful. When we're playing with it up here on an iPad, and great photography, very fun to flip through, kind of more traditional product. So I guess some of the questions I have, coming from a magazine background, do you pay your writers? I mean, the photography is very high quality. Do people write for you, so for you to direct your readers back to their blogs? I mean, how does it work in terms of, see up there, you say advertisers and subscribers. Just wondering how that all kind of fits together.
Right. We actually work with quite a big group of contributors. We do pay for the contributions. We believe that you should never write for free. That said, we don't have a big budget. We usually pay $150 for a 10-page feature, 2,000 words. And about in terms of revenue, at the moment we are making 80% of the revenue from magazine sales. So the rest comes from advertising. We are aiming to make it 50% advertising and 50% magazine sales in future. Yeah.
Hi Nelly. Yeah, the magazine looks great. I love the photography. So what do you actually sell it for when you're selling it, and how many people are paying for it?
At the moment, we've got 115,000 subscribers. We receive about 1.65 million unique views each issue. And we publish quarterly, so it's got a shelf life of 3 months per issue. We are aiming for at least 10 million, hopefully, in a few years' time.
Okay, sorry, I don't think you answered the question. How much do you actually sell it for when you sell it?
Okay.
And how many people are actually paying for it?
Okay, sorry. We sell it for a 1-year subscription for 4 issues would be $10.99 US on Zinio and Maxter, as well as on our iPad app. And what was your other question? How many people are buying it? 115,000 subscribers paying for it, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to Mark as well, because he gave me a lot of feedback last year based on our first draft, and yeah, thank you very much.
Some very impressive numbers there, I must say, so congratulations, very, very well done. So, We're halfway through, so our next one also has a presentation. So this is Cash. That's Cash. And if I say this wrong, I did ask you earlier. So it's Bhattacharya. Thank you. Thank you. So Cash is going to talk to us about his project, which was working with hostels.
Yes.
Yes. So over to you, Cash. Your 7 minutes start now, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for everybody coming along. It's amazing to see so many people here. Humbled, truly. My name is Cash Bhattacharya, as Kevin almost pronounced correctly. I run a blog about budget travel called The Budget Traveler. So what my project idea was all about was creating a guide to luxury hostels around Europe. So before I kick into my quick 6-minute presentation, how many of you in the last 1 year has visited or been to a hostel? Show of hands. Wow. Cool. Great. I was just going to say, I was hoping nobody would put their hands up and saying, yes, you're my audience, but you all love hostels, so thanks. So I was going to show you a quick video of a luxury hostel in Germany and also a particular scene of me actually getting wet in a shower. But I'm wary of the time limit that's been imposed on me, so if we have time in the end, you'll get to see me in a shower. But don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't run away. So why did I come up with this idea? It was born on the 29th of April, 2011, the day that many of you may remember that Prince William married Kate. And I was in a 12-bed dorm in Paris with a bunch of 11 drunk Brazilians who were snoring like hyenas. And basically, I didn't sleep a wink that night. And I've slept in dorms all my life, but suddenly I think at 33, I may be getting too old for hosteling. So this was something that was really a big shock to me, and I started thinking, what can I do now? I also suffer from a disease called parkopresis, which is quite embarrassing to share with all you people, but I don't mind. It's the irrational fear of shitting in public toilets. If you didn't know it, you know it now. You have a disease. So I was kind of having this big problem of being in big hostel toilets and shitting. So I realized I need my own room and my own toilet. So what I realized I needed to do was, people had this concept of hostels just being dorms, and I realized that there needed to be a rebrand of the whole image of what hostels are nowadays. So I realized that not only did I need to rebrand the image of hosteling in the minds of travelers, but also I found in my research, speaking to destination marketing organizations, that a lot of them don't work with hostels, and that's a key thing that a lot of the hostels were telling me, saying we love to promote ourselves, but we're finding it very hard at the moment. The DMOs are more keen on working with hotels. So I needed to rebrand the image of hosting in the industry. And the other key thing I realized after 4 years of blogging, by the way, I've been blogging for 4 years, and only in the last 1.5 years I've been doing it full time. I realized I was preaching to a converted audience within Facebook, and I realized that the audience here is not my main readership. My main audience is out there in all the hostels, all the travelers, and I needed to reach out to them and speak to them and kind of inspire them about my blog and what I do. So what I realized I had to do was get away from the stereotypical image of hosteling. And this is probably the worst example you could get, so apologies to the hostel. And I realized I needed to go something a bit more sexy and stylish. So this is a beautiful hostel called the Poets Hostel in a place called Chiado in Lisbon. And it's an amazing space. This is one of my favorite hostels I've featured in the project. It's called The Gallery. It's an art gallery stroke hostel. And you can go to art exhibitions. It takes place 3 times a month, where people from Porto come into the hostel, and also guests meet locals. So it's a unique space. So my big idea was to create a guide to luxury hostels. And I realized in my research there was no guidebook on the market to luxury hostels. These cool neo hostels, I couldn't find any information anywhere except a few articles here or there on the internet. So my initial idea was to create a hostel that combines the luxury of a private room, of like you find in a hotel, but combining that with the fun social element of a hostel. But then as my project developed, I realized that it was not just about beds. These hostels were giving people an experience. So what I've done in the that's me in my bed in a luxury hostel having a great time. I visited in the last 6 months 50 hostels in 43 cities. So I'm absolutely knackered. As I stand in front of you, I'm tired, but it's been great because I've got to meet lots of people and really speak to my readers. I've had 5 key sponsors who have been very kind to sponsor and support my project, and I'm very excited that EasyJet, Travel Zoo, Busabout, Travelers Point, which is a hostel booking site, and Interrail all supported my project. And EasyJet, I'd worked with them before, so for me working with them, I did a 15-hour blogger challenge 2 years ago when they were 15 years old, and that was the beginning of our relationship. Travel Zoo do affordable luxury. They do great things like local deals where you can find great deals in cities. So it kind of tied into the whole image and story of my project about affordable luxury. Busabout is a hop-on or hop-off bus network across Europe, and Interrail, you guys know. So what did it involve? The hostels had to pay a fee to be involved, so it would be anything ranging from £200 to £350. And this is for me mainly to cover my expenses. I was not trying to make money as such out of this. For me, it's a very expensive project in terms of traveling, the cost involved, and I'm also producing, as you see in point number 3, I'm producing an ebook at the end of this, and I'm spending £1,500 on a graphic designer. So the 3 key elements are that I'm real-time blogging, which is one of the key things that all of us bloggers have, using our social networks to get the awareness out of the hostels. Blog posts, so doing blog reviews on my blog, and then I'm going to wrap it up into an ebook, and it's going to be published in April next year. Impact. Oh, my slides are mixed around. Okay, so the impact so far is that I've already visited 34 hostels. I've been to 27 cities, and I've handed out 10,000 postcards. On Twitter and on Instagram, my projects received 12 million impressions, and I've reached 1 million people. In April 2013, I'm launching an ebook, and Travel Zoo UK have been very kind to send the ebook to all their 2.2 million subscribers. So for me, it's all about generating exposure for the hostels involved. Also, the other surprising thing is that it's amazing how much the print media have taken an interest in my project, and not the kind of magazines that I traditionally think I would ever be featured. Glamour, Cosmopolitan, and last week, Condé Nast Traveler, Vanity Fair interviewed me, and for me it was amazing. And my fan following on Facebook has just shot through the roof. It's been great. All right, okay, right. So I'm wrapping up. So that's a little bit of the impact, and that's pretty much a little in a nutshell of what I've been doing in 6 months in 7 minutes. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, big round of applause again, please. Good stuff. Mark or Jennifer, over to you.
Hi, Cash. I'm also a fan of ensuite bathrooms, but thanks for your disclosure. That's also good. It's also I like bloggers who disclose things. I really like the fact that you've identified a gap in the market, and it looks like you're creating a really valuable resource. It doesn't strike me that you're making a lot of money out of this. I wonder if you've looked at maybe creating a real book or an e-book that you could charge for, something like this.
Yeah, the key thing as a blogger, it's a mixture of financial, but also the biggest thing I wanted to gain out of this is build my brand. As bloggers, all of us here, what we're trying to do is get our brand out there, out of the confined spaces of Facebook and Twitter, out into the real world. So this is where these projects become massive in terms of getting these sponsors involved. And the sponsors didn't pay me huge money. I've raised £11,000 from this project. That's the revenue I've generated so far. But for me, the biggest gain from this was getting my brand out there. And my hope is that if the ebook is very popular, I might be lucky enough, like Matt over there, and Matt did an ebook about money-saving tips while he's traveling in the world, and it's so popular that Penguin are deciding to publish it next year. So maybe that might happen to me. I might be lucky as Matt.
Hi, Cash. Yeah, great idea. I used to write for a budget travel magazine, and so like doing that, doing it in a fresh way where it's not kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel and highlighting the changes in the market. Yeah, I guess I kind of thought the same thing of, you know, what why aren't you making more money from it? It's such a great idea. But I understand about building the brand. So then what is the next step for you? So step one is building your brand beyond the confines of your existing audience. So what's it going to be a springboard to that will make you money?
I think the key thing we all want as bloggers is we want to get more people visiting our site. Because once we start getting more serious traffic coming through our site, we can then start monetizing that traffic in various ways. So we could be endorsing products, we could be selling ebooks. There's so many ways that opens up to. But the first biggest key step for me was, as somebody who's been blogging full time for 3-4 years, is how to get my brand really out there, because that's what I'm focusing on. And it's kind of like suck it and see. With blogging, you sometimes try something, it doesn't work, and then you keep on trying and you see what works, and hopefully that will lead to something bigger and better in the future.
Okay, everybody, cash once again, Bhattacharya. Right, we're whizzing through now. So our next innovator is Gary Arndt from Everything Everywhere. Gary, over to you, sir.
It's Everything Everywhere, the website, not the mobile phone company. I had the name first. I have been blogging now for 6 years. I had my 6-year anniversary in October. I've been traveling around the world nonstop since March of 2007. And I have to confess, talking about blogging to me is like talking about sex. It achieves very little, and you'd rather be doing it. I didn't make any money on my website for over 5 years, and that was a purposeful decision, because I see too many bloggers that they say, okay, I've started my blog, how do I make money? And the answer is you don't. You don't make money on a blog, you make money off your audience. In my previous life, I had a consulting firm. I had a 50-person consulting firm that I sold, an internet consulting firm I sold in 1998. After that, I had a successful network of video game sites. We were doing over 50 million page views a year. And when I sold my home and decided to take off, I had at least some background as to an idea of what this stuff was about. And I was about 7 months into my trip, and I had a come to Jesus moment where I realized nobody was reading my website. I could probably give you the names of everyone because they were friends and family. And I realized that either I had to stop doing this because it was a waste of my time, or I needed to take this seriously and make something that could be a real business. And so I set out a goal 5 years ago of how I was going to make money doing this. And the model that I wanted to pursue was that of endorsements and sponsorships. There was nobody doing this with bloggers at the time, but I realized if I took the time, grew my audience, eventually the rest of the industry and the world would catch up to me. It was 3 years traveling around the world before a single person in the travel and tourism industry ever even bothered to talk to me. But I just kind of did this with this maniacal face. If I just keep doing this long enough, then eventually something would happen. And on January 1st of this year, I pulled the trigger and I said, okay, 2012 will be the year that I will finally start making money. And we did this by implementing the first sponsorship and endorsement deals that I did. And we've had 3 of them this year. First is with G Adventures. Formerly Gap Adventures, the adventure travel company, and there's actually several people here, including Nellie, Dan and Andre from Mud Corner Market, Jody Ettenberg, and Matt, who are also part of the Wanderers in Residence program. We also have an endorsement deal with Scotty Vest, and also one with TripIt.com, which is an app. And we've learned a lot of doing this year. The money's been good, and the reason we pursued this model of endorsements and sponsorships is very simple. One, it's not about making money per se. It's about making money in a way that will let me live my life in the way I want to live it. I'm doing this because I want to travel, not because I want to make money. If you want to make money, do anything other than start a travel blog. It is one of the worst things that you can do because it's just not very good. And the second thing is I'm putting everything into the site and my audience, which means I'm not doing any consulting, I'm not doing any freelance work, I'm not writing for any other publications, I'm not selling links or banner advertising, and I don't have any other websites. It's one site with one audience of people following me. We found out several things doing it this year. I also have a business manager who works with me on doing endorsement deals. One is all of the products that I use have to be companies that I like and have to be products that I actually use. So I'm wearing Scotty Vest gear right now. This is my G Adventures t-shirt, and TripIt.com, and TripIt is my favorite app that I've been using for several years. But that also isn't necessarily enough. What we found is that you have to have the right fit and you have to have the right business goals and objectives. So in 2013, as we're looking at things, I was just at a conference in Aspen a month ago. It was a snow sports conference with a lot of marketers, and I don't ski, but it was fascinating to meet some of these people and realize how that segment is very different than the travel industry. Traditionally, in things such as ski, golf, tennis, there are people that perform at a very high level, professional athletes, who get endorsement deals and sponsorships because there's an enormous number of people who also do that recreationally. Tiger Woods makes a lot of money because there's a lot of bad golfers. In travel and tourism, that has never made sense up until today, where there are people doing things at a certain level who command their own audience, and then there's an enormous group of people who travel recreationally. They have no desire to necessarily be travel bloggers or even travel full-time, but they can find a lot of inspiration and desire in what other people are doing. And that's mainly what it's coming from. Now, one of the things that Kevin talked about is we did this year is with G Adventures is we did a photo tour in the American Southwest. We had no idea if this would work when we proposed it. And what it was a 2-week tour. We started in San Francisco. We went to Yosemite, Death Valley, Las Vegas, Zion National Park, Grand Canyon, all the big national parks in the Southwest. And we put this tour available and just to see what would happen. And they kind of thought it would fail. I was kind of worried about it. Turns out it was the fastest selling North American tour that G Adventures had in 2011. We even had a waiting list. And it's a $100 million company. They do a lot of tours. And it was so successful that we're going to be doing 2 tours this year, back to back. We haven't announced the destination yet, but it's Italy. And we'll be announcing that publicly soon. And it's also opened up a whole host of things. So one of the things that we're going to be doing for 2013 is more tours, like the one I mentioned. We're going to be doing a travel photography workshops, which are just a single weekend, as well as some online seminars with some other companies that work with photography, as well as doing products. But the key with all of this, as I said, is it's about making money, but it's primarily about allowing me to live the lifestyle that lets me do what I do. And the other thing, and I don't know if I stress this enough, the main benefit of my business model is that by working with other brands closely, they can help me grow my audience just as I can help them give some boots on the ground credibility to things in the area of travel or adventure or photography. And that's been one of the biggest things. So it's kind of a virtuous cycle where I can bring my audience to the table and then they can help me to grow my audience, and hopefully we can all just keep growing and growing.
Thank you very much. Carry on. Critics, please.
Hi, Gary. Very impressive. I wonder if you're contractually obliged to wear the shirt.
I'm not.
And
no, I'm just a suck up.
Okay. And I'm also starting to think whether I can have a word with Paul Smith and maybe. Anyway, so some of the people in this room, quite a lot of the people in this room, will know how successful you are as a blogger. Some won't, but you've got a massive following, both on social media and your site. I know that. I wonder if you have what economists call a first mover advantage, because you've been around for a while. Could someone coming in now achieve the kind of success that you've got, or is it just too saturated? Would they not be able to do that in the time available?
Could they? Sure. But it's hard. And I'll be the first to admit that being one of the first people doing this has helped me a great deal. I've had a fair amount of luck, and my background in business is probably what helped me more than anything else. I approach this as a business. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a writer. And that's probably been the biggest thing. And I'm a firm believer that the 3 most important things are audience, audience, audience. Build a big enough audience and the money will come to you.
Hi, Gary. Yeah, really interesting. I think it's interesting combining the blog world with then real world experiences. So you mentioned a couple of times, you kept saying we, and so I had a
It's the royal we.
Is it the royal we?
No, actually I have an assistant
Mm-hmm.
who works for me. She lives in Texas. I have a business manager who's responsible for business deals, endorsement things, and whatnot. And then I also have a literary agent. So that's kind of the Everything Everywhere team.
Mm-hmm.
But I do all the traveling.
Okay, and so you're leading these groups.
Yeah, the photography tour is led by me.
Okay, and those are set up by your team, or those are set up by...
G Adventures handles all the logistics. I just sort of show up and smile.
Okay. Okay.
And talk about photography, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. And kind of follow-up question, you mentioned your kind of come to Jesus moment. After that moment, how did you kind of surmount the obstacle of having no readers? The usual ways? I mean, was there anything different you did?
I am also a big believer that the most important thing for me is having real people who know who I am and care about what I have to say. So people that follow me, it's not just traffic and page views. That's important. But it's about getting people to make a one-click commitment to say, I want to hear more from you in the future. That can be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be email, it could be RSS, it could be any number of things. And the process of growing it was, okay, how do I get to 100 people to follow me? And that's pretty easy. You can ask people. And then you get to 1,000. Well, it takes a little bit more time, but it's doable by most bloggers. 10,000. Okay, then you need a whole different set of things what you have to do. And now I'm trying to think about, okay, how do I get to 100,000? And each kind of order of magnitude requires a completely different strategy, a completely different way of thinking. I'll be honest, I don't even necessarily know how to get to the next stage, but you kind of figure out as opportunities present themselves. But yeah, and I realized, having sold a business, having sold my house, I had money that allowed me to travel, and I did not have to monetize for 5 years. However, putting a focus on building your audience and your content is going to make you more in the long run than selling your soul for $20 for a tiny little ad in your site will today. That you're better off to say no, no, no to as many people as possible. Let yourself be a premium brand, and then at some point down the future, get more.
Great.
Okay, just a quick question for me, because you are one of the most high-profile bloggers on the circuit. So, can you tell us how much you earn? Is that something you're willing to share with us?
I will make over 6 figures this year in dollars. I'll gross that much. Because I have people working for me in terms of commissions and payments, I'm obviously not netting that much, and a lot of it goes back into travel and equipment and things like that. But okay. I think the potential is, we're still starting out, and as more and more people in the travel industry, because I'll be honest, walking around the show floor, most people have no clue we exist. It's true. They don't know what blogs are, but that's not going to be the case 5 years from now. And as more and more that happens, there's going to be more and more opportunities for everybody. If you look at all the money that goes at the big travel magazines right now, when they're all dead, that money's got to go somewhere, and it's probably going to go to a lot of people at the table.
Okay, everybody, Gary Arms, please. Thank you. And our final pitch this afternoon is Matt Kepnes from, or Nomadic Matt is the name of his blog, and over to you. You've got to wow the audience to finish them off.
Hi, I know it's late and it's almost beer o'clock, so I'll try to be short and succinct. My name is Matt Kepnes. I run the travel blog Nomadic Matt, focused on budget and long-term travel. And one of the questions people always ask me is, how do I make money? And I sell a lot of ebooks. But earlier in this year, I realized that if I really wanted to grow my income, and like Gary, I make over 6 figures a year with it, I had to do more than ebooks, because it takes a lot of $20 ebooks to make a lot of money. So I decided that people don't want really ebooks, they want hands-on mentorship, right? If you look at some of the biggest blogs outside of travel, they sell courses, they sell one-on-one consulting, they sell these really high-end, high-dollar products. And so in June, I put a little thing on my website saying I'm going to do 2 things, and they're both 2 sides of the same coin. One is I'm going to have a blog course, and the other is I'm going to do travel planning services. And if you want to be part of sort of the beta testing, sign up for my these newsletters. And I never mentioned it again on the website. In August, I did launch it's a 12-week how to build an online business course to my little beta group. I took 10 people I didn't really want more than that. I didn't know how much the time commitment would be, because when you're doing 1 hour phone calls, you don't really want 100 people to sign up, because that's a lot of phone calls per week. And it's worked out very well. And so next year I'm going to launch it officially, and it will be 4 times per year. And there's different levels. You can get videos, and you get my book on how to monetize your blog. And there's be video and audio guides. And then there's one where it's one-on-one mentorship with me, which is the higher premium course. And there's actually a huge waiting list to get into it, because I found there were actually a lot of demand for it. And it's not just people in travel. 2 of my students work in health and wellness, because that course is simply about how to build an online business, and the marketing and the general principle is the same. And so on the flip side of that, beginning of last month, sort of soft launched a travel planning service, because people come to me for advice, and you can say, well, buy my ebook, or as Cash mentioned, my soon-to-be print edition published book on how to travel the world. But with so many blogs and so much information, people do get kind of lost in that sea of knowledge, and it can get overwhelming. So I launched this planning service. There's 3 levels to that. There's like an hour phone call, there's a 2-hour phone call with some coupons, and then there's the premium package, which is phone calls, coupons, and I do the bookings for you. And I did that just slowly because I wanted to see how that would go, and it went really well. I got a lot of interest, and when you ask, why did you sign up, and the answer is always, we have no idea what we're doing, and we're going to go spend $30,000, to go around the world. And I say we because one of them is a couple, and I'm just using them as an example. And we want to make sure we use our money right. So to spend $200 on top of $30,000 makes sense for us. And the answer they also gave is there's just too much information, and we didn't know where to begin. And so that's going to go further in 2013. There's going to be banners all over my site, and so it will be much more public. And so that's where I see myself going. I do take sponsors like Gary, but I want to sell. I don't want ads on my site. I only want just a couple of sponsors, but I really want to sell my knowledge and myself and create an experience for people where they get me teaching them to do what I do. And so it's just not about buying my ebook, it's let me teach you to do what I do, because that's what you're really here to learn about. And so, there we go.
Okay. Who would have thought it that the industry goes full circle, bloggers become travel agents?
Yeah, in a way, people say, oh, sure, you're like an agent. I'm like, yeah, in some ways.
Okay, critics, please.
Hi, Matt. I'd like to pick up on the point that Kevin made. I think it's really interesting. Maybe more like personal concierge. That might be.
Yeah, I label it as a concierge service.
Yeah.
There's a guy that runs a website called The Cranky Flyer, Brett Snyder, and he has a concierge service where he helps people book flights with frequent flyer points and everything. And we had to talk to him about it because he does that something similar, but it's very much more like your personal travel assistant.
I think you've probably got to have a passion for people to do that, and I wonder if this is sustainable for a long period for you, where you feel that you want to continue doing that, or whether you might get fed up with the same old questions from these kind of like wealthy people who are going to go backpacking for the first time.
I've been running this blog for 4.5 years, and I get the same emails for 4.5 years. So if I can deal with the same emails for 4.5 years, same phone calls, same. Yeah, but who knows? Maybe in 2014 I decide to do something else. But for now, I think this is a good natural progression to the site.
Great. I just have a quick question. I think it's really interesting, this whole curation idea that you're kind of the expert in curating all this information for all these people. Following on from some of the other questions, is it scalable? I mean, can you have other underlings take calls for less money and then you take the big expensive calls?
No, because people are buying me. So in the course, like so the ebook course, there's two versions. You can just get the videos and do it yourself, or you can get the premium one, which is, me and helping you actually like troubleshoot WordPress problems and on the phone stuff. But with the planning, there's only so many hours in a day, and it's priced so it's not scalable. I've made it expensive because I don't want to have 100 people signing up every week, because that's just too much time. So I want it to be limited. And people who have done similar things in other niches said, if you price it right, i.e. more than your average person will take, you'll get the right kind of client who's willing to invest the money to make it worthwhile for them.
Okay, right, so thank you very much to Matt. But especially, can we have a huge round of applause for all 6 of our innovators, first of all, please? Right, you need to practice this clapping thing because we're going to come back to it in a second. So, very quickly, our critics are going to summarise each one of these, and then we'll do the clapometer. And my glamorous assistant, Mark, here, will be judging which has got the loudest clap. So, right. Critics, can we have a quick summary on Janice, please?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really like what Janice is doing here. It actually looks like a really conventional business model, just publishing books. But there's something quite interesting about it, and that's the collaborative editing element. I like that. I don't think anyone's been doing that before. So for me, that's the big innovation here. And it's very scalable. I could see this becoming a serious brand. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so right, if you liked Janice and the book series, clap, please. I didn't ask for cheers and whoops, but they're really, really good. So, Jen, Sarah Lee and the 4x4.
Yeah, I thought what was interesting to me about this was the fact it was collaborative again, but you also had that multimedia video component. We keep talking about video. It feels a bit like it's ahead of the curve in that it's turning that video then into a show. It's all coming full circle and covering basically the entire world.
Okay, and when I said it wasn't very scientific, what I didn't know is that Mark is actually recording these and checking the levels of your cheering and clapping. So it does matter. It does matter. So a cheer and a clap if you thought Sarah Lee's was an innovator for this year. Mark, your thoughts on Nelly and the Wild Junket?
Okay, well this is a really nice looking professional magazine. It looks great on the iPad. I recommend you have a look at it. Great photography. Actually, I don't know why Nelly was quite cagey about the numbers, because it was the numbers that really impressed me. So 115,000 subscribers paying $11 a year. I mean, that's really impressive. That's what impressed me most about it. I think that it's a fantastic model you got there.
Okay, Nelly and her numbers and the Wild Junket magazine. Cheers, clap. Cash.
Yeah, I kind of like this. I think this looks like a really useful resource that no one's done before. Cash has gone out and identified a genuine gap in the market, which very few bloggers are doing. Most bloggers are doing, same two kind of stuff. And he's really gone out and found something, and he's made a convincing case that it's not just about making a lot of money on this, it's about building his brand and making money later, so looking at it as a long-term initiative. Very impressed.
Okay, so I suspect if we'd had seen the video, we might get a different reaction. So, but based on what you heard, the luxury hostels initiative. Claps and cheers, please. I don't have the technology, but I do wonder on that one. So, okay. Critics on Gary Arndt and making money.
Yeah, I think Gary's presentation just struck to the heart of that. Build up your audience first. He reinforced that. Very interesting that it's very focused, no consulting, no banners, no freelancing. It's all about this one business model, which is working intensely with some advertisers and building out with that. So yeah, really interesting and informative.
Okay, cheers and claps for Gary Arndt. And last and not least, your thoughts on Matt's planning, the travel agent.
Yeah,
idea.
no.
The cutting edge travel agent.
It's so much more than that. Yeah, it's great to hear kind of different models coming from bloggers as kind of highly placed as Matt. And yeah, I like this idea of servicing kind of different sector, that it's all about the relationship with the blogger, which is what every blogger is trying to build up, and monetizing that in a kind of bespoke way.
Okay, so let's have cheers and claps for Matt, please. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Mark in a second because he has the results on his phone, which is very good. So just lastly from me, so thank you very much to our critics, Mark and Jennifer. Give them a round of applause, please. Sterling work. And even though Mark is going to announce a winner, the best one, I think once again, for all 6 of our innovators today, can we have a huge round of applause and those cheers again? That's it for me. I'm handing back over to Mark for the winner. Thank you.
Thanks everybody, and I think it's only fair that I used that app there because in fact I am a failed scientist. I was a nuclear physicist before I was a writer and before I did all about social media, so I was using my app there, but I think everybody knows what the result will be, but I think it's traditional to have a dramatic pause at this point before I announce the winner. It's cash. And thanks for teaching me a new word as well, which it doesn't happen very often these days, but thank you for that. So thanks to everybody, thanks to Kevin for moderating this great session. I hope you've enjoyed that. And